All right, welcome to this week's Euro USD weekly forecast. Obviously, we have a few things to go over for this week because I didn't do one last week. I was actually on my way to Cancun, Mexico, and I couldn't make a video um, based on me being out of town. But funny enough, we have a few things to cover because the last 2 weeks have been pretty interesting in terms of the pullback that we got, much more significant than I thought we were going to get. But there was a few things that were surprising, but at the same time not surprising, and we'll get into that just now. But if you like the content, if you like the videos that I make, you know, uh, like and subscribe, and also if you guys have any comments or suggestions, videos, or you have questions that you would like me to go over as a topic, I would love to do that. And just guys let me know whatever you want to know based on my experience as a trader and things that I can help you with. So with that said, let's dive into what we're looking at moving forward, especially for the week coming up. So if you saw my last video, I had like 14 positions on the short side, beginning all the way up here. I had a really nice short positions up here, and I just kept adding to the short side. We made this nice move here, and once we got in between those two median levels, we had that little bounce. I added even more shorts, and then once we got down here, my take profit was at 1.0580, which is literally right in this zone right over here. You know what? Let me move this down here. It was right here where support one is located. So of course we get really close, and then we start little by little bouncing. Now I didn't see any divergence. You could look down and see there's no divergence. So I was kind of like, okay, let me wait and see what the market's going to do. Even if we get up to the previous median level, which is right at 1.0750, and I figure, okay, once we get to about 1.07, I'm going to evaluate what the market's trying to do, if I should add some more positions, and so forth. So I added, once we started moving up to upside, I started adding a little bit more short positions, thinking that we were going to go down. And of course, if this kind of confuses you a little bit in terms of the candles, remember, I always use the Heiken and the She candles. For me, it just gives me much more clarity on what the market's trying to do, and it makes the charts and the chart patterns a lot cleaner for me. But I can go back and show you guys. You can see once we hit this median level right over here, I said, okay, we're probably going to head to the downside, and then right here on the take profit zone. But once we started creeping up to the upside, I was like, okay, let me start moving stops down just in case we start getting to, start moving a little bit higher. And I was kind of sold on this candle here. You know what? Let me go back so you guys can see. Started getting sold on this candle here. So I added shorts, and then when we made this move up, I said, okay, we're probably gonna let me see what happens the very next day, and then from there I could start really evaluating if the market's gonna try to make another swift move to the upside, because you can see this is one move up, a pullback, pretty strong, a red candle here, and then it started making another swift move to the upside. But before we get there, once this candle, this moved down pretty good. This was about 0.35%, maybe even almost 0.40%. So I was okay with that, of holding short positions here. But as the day progressed, you see this left a long wick, and it pushed all the way up to end green. That's when I said, okay, this doesn't look so good for for those who are short. So I moved them stops here, and I was actually at the airport during NFP, and my flight was delayed, so I was looking on my phone, and it was right around 8:29. I was sitting down, and I was like, "Oh shit! Here we go. It's gonna be either a strong move to the upside, a strong move to the downside, and it's going to take me out of my positions, and I'm still going to make profit. It's going to be significantly less than what I initially had. And of course, monster spike up. Like you can see just how huge this candle was. If I go back to the traditional candlesticks, you can see right down here, all the way up there. Now, I kind of laughed to myself when this happened because I was like, all right, I'm out of all my positions. It sucks. Uh, I was set to make pretty good amount of pips and a profit, but this market ended up taking just this whole area out. And when I looked at this resistance right over here, I figured, you know what? There's support here, there's support here, there's support here, and then once you reach the level again, if you notice, we found some good resistance. So this probably pulled some people in for shorts, expecting another low below this low right over here. And this red candle was very convincing, I'm sure, to a lot of people who were holding short right at this area right over here. But of course, started moving up. And anybody who had short positions here, I'm sure had their stops like all the way up here just to feel safe, even up here at 1.08, because once it hit around 1.0740, putting your stop all the way up here at 1.08 is pretty safe. I mean, that's a pretty deep distance. But of course, this candle just rampaged right through all that. Probably took a ton of stops out, even probably margin calls. And right after the whole NFP and the price calmed down throughout the day, you can see it left this huge wick. Slowly came down and it closed all the way down here. And so far, we have not made it all the way back there. For now, I don't think that we will. I think we were about to make another move down, and I'll show you why in just a second. But you can see that this was a brutal like spike. I think 0.80%, maybe a little over 0.80% of a move on the initial spike. But now I said, okay, I'm out all the positions. So what am I looking for next? What's next? Is this bullish now? What am I looking for? To position myself for another move. So right now, I believe that we're still going to make another move to the downside, and I'll show you right now. So in between, we're still in between price, still in between these two median levels right over here. If you notice, it spiked above it, but it stayed in there. And I was trying to pay attention to see if we were going to close above this. If we were going to close above 1.0, let's say close to 1.08, then I would kind of second guess and be like, all right, well, I think this market's not going to, this resistance area is not going to hold. But we're still in this area. And when the market opens, I'm going to look to initiate some short positions. Number one, the reason what I like this setup is that we have that hidden divergence. If you know what hidden divergence is, price is a high, potentially makes another lower high, and the MACD does a complete opposite, where it makes a high and then it makes a much higher high. So we look down. This is our top point here, our high, and then assuming that this is going to be another high, that this resistance holds up, the MACD is doing the complete opposite. Okay, that's criteria number one, which is a good sign. So if we look here, if there's any patterns, anything that would signify that this might make another move to the downside, for me, I like the fact that it's kind of a wedge in here. Right, let me fix that up. So there's kind of a wedge right in here. It's getting smaller and smaller. So probably going to initiate some short positions here for another move, or another leg down, I should say. And this is what I'm going to pay attention to. This red zone right over here. See what the market's going to do there. If we start moving to the downside, say, okay, I'm going to start adding positions. I might start adding smaller positions, even when the market opens tomorrow. But want to see how this price action in this area, in this red box, starts playing out before I really start tacking on positions for another move to the downside. And it's a pretty decent move if we get that move. You're talking about 180, 170 pips. Still pretty good, right? So that's still a good setup. You have a potential rising wedge into resistance, and the MACD giving us a little hint of hidden divergence, which signifies that we might get another move, another leg to the downside, right? And looking on the weekly chart, you can see this descending triangle is still in play. If we move to the downside, it's still within this triangle. It's still, there's still support here. So it's still, price is still getting condensed in this pattern. So this is what I want to see moving to the downside. We continue to the downside, and then we find some support in this area for a nice move all the way from here, all the way up to the pivot, which is about I think a little over 300 pips. So that would be a good trade. But before you even get there, we need to see what this is going to do for this week on the open tomorrow and for the remaining of the week, especially with some news coming out. So let's take a look here. Oh, this is already done. So we got CPI numbers on Wednesday, PPI numbers on Tuesday, and Powell, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell speaks. So who knows how price is going to react to this. And then on Thursday we have unemployment claims. So pretty pretty good economic data coming out, and that should give us some good price action to see what this Euro USD is going to do. So yeah, that's it right now. Unfortunately, um, I still made profit, but it was significantly less. Especially, it sucks whenever you have really good positioning and the market does a little extra than you think what it's going to do, and then you have to protect yourself, and then it takes you out, right? And this was about 200, maybe even more. There's about a 200 pip swing. If this is a pullback, that's a pretty decent pullback. But once that happens, you gotta have to remove that from your mind, not get caught up in it, and then look for the next opportunity. Whether that's immediately for like in this case, this might be another opportunity to go short here, or sometimes you're gonna have to get out, and then you might have to wait a little bit before the next clearer opportunity shows up, and then you can initiate a trade, and then you make the money back on whatever what you make up from the last trade that you were in. So that's going to be it for this week. Well, for this video, we'll see what happens, and of course, manage your risk. That's always priority number one, and then we'll see how this Euro USD trade plays out, or this trade idea. And lastly, if you guys have any questions or any topics that you want me to cover, I'd be more than happy to do that. And you can always hit me up privately. You can always look into the description where you can also sign up for free on ideas and things that I share with everybody else. So with that said, take care, guys. I will see you in the next video.